All right, so today we're talking about the sense framework from the book Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. So Millionaire Fastlane is a book that basically describes how to become a millionaire uh, in the fast lane. So this is his recipe, MJ DeMarco, his recipe for making a startup from from 0 to 100 and getting to $1 million. It's basically a book about all the different factors and parameters you need to take into consideration when starting a business, and it has a lot of really good value in my opinion. Um, it's very concrete, and there's so much information in this book that it's really required to read it multiple times, I would say, and to really get the value out of it that it provides, because there are so many different things in this book that are really, really valuable. One of the things that are in this book, which is one of the central core messages from the book, or like the core themes, um, or core concepts, we can also call it, is this sense framework, SENTS, and it stands for control, entry, need, time, and scale. And the sense framework describes the 5 core elements that needs to be present in any business for the business to be viable for making more than $1 million. So these are the core 5 factors that needs to be present in order for the business to actually be able to make you a millionaire, thus the Millionaire Fastlane. So I'm going to go through each one of them, and I'm going to try to do it relatively short. So this video is going to be relatively short. All right. So the first one, control. Control is all about controlling every aspect of the business. MJ DeMarco says that if you do not have control, you are basically hitchhiking a ride. And if you're hitchhiking a ride in someone else's car, you are not in control of the direction that you're going, and you can crash all of a sudden without you having any influence on it. So examples of businesses without any control could, for example, be running a YouTube channel where the YouTube channel is your main source of income. You're not in control of the platform. YouTube channels, though, can be a very viable part of a business, but if that is your only part of the business, well, if the business like YouTube shuts down for some reason, or they change the regulations, or demonetizes you for some reason, you don't have any control of that, and you can lose your income very, very quickly. And this is what he describes as the risks of starting a business where you are not in control. I can describe that from my own life. My first business that I started, my first experience with being self-employed, was when I was employed in a physiotherapeutic clinic, or actually it was a chiropractic clinic, where I was basically leasing a spot to be there. I had my own company, but I was paying about 40% of my total revenue monthly to have a spot in that clinic, to use their customer flow, their client book and everything, to be promoted on their webpage, to use their systems, all of these things. And I thought to myself back then, like, yes, now I am fully self-employed, but the problem was that I didn't have control of anything. If there was no customers, I did not have control to get more customers, because I was not controlling the client flow. I didn't have any influence on the marketing. I didn't have influence on basically like the way that the clinic would get customers. I was just receiving the customers that the receptionist would refer to me, and this is really bad. Also, when you are self-employed like this, I did not have control, for example, with when I'm gone from the clinic, I no longer make any money. My presence is required one-to-one for having an income. This is more tied to time, which we will get into very shortly. But basically, controls mean that you are pulling the levers on all the different aspects of the business. A business where you're in control is where you own all the assets of the business. So that could be the buildings, that could be the cars, that could be the manufacturing facilities, that could be the web page, that you're running your business through. You own everything, which means you are in full control. All right, the next one is entry. Entry means that the market that you are entering, the business that you're starting to try to start, the entry into the kind of market that you're going into with your business, it needs to have a relatively high entry bar. What does that mean? That means that if everyone can enter the market that you are trying to enter, then there is very high competition. If there is no real requirement to get into this kind of market, any special qualifications, skills, knowledge, tools, anything that makes it a bit more difficult to get into this kind of branch or niche, everyone can do it. And if everyone can do it, the value of that skill is in uh, not very valuable. And the price that you can charge will be quite low. And the competition that you are fighting against will be very high. This is a bad position to be in. And when there are so many different people to compete against, the main differentiating factor is price. It's very hard to make yourself unique in a market with so many different people because everyone else is already trying to do what you were trying to do. So the main thing that you can try to differentiate yourself on here is price. So an example of a very low entry market would, for example, be YouTube. It's really difficult to start a successful YouTube channel. There are so many people who can do it. If you have a cell phone and an internet connection, which every human being on earth at this point more or less has access to, or the majority anyways, you can start a YouTube channel and you can start uploading videos and talk about whatever you want to. You want to enter a market where it has a higher bar of entry, where it's a specific skill set that is required in order for you to start this business. And the more niche you can be, the higher the entry to enter that market will be. The more specialized you are, the more difficult it is for other people to do what you do, which makes you a very interesting person to do business with, because there's not a lot of people around to do what you can do. All right, so that's C and E, control and entry. The next one is N, and this is need. And this is arguably the most important part. And DeMarco also says in the book that this is the most important part of the book. So if you need to learn anything from this book, this is the core thing to know. And that is, the business that you start needs to serve someone. It needs to help someone. There needs to be a need for the thing that you are trying to bring into the world. You can have the best idea in the world, but if nobody wants it, if nobody cares about it, then you are not going to make any money. You're not going to be a very successful business because nobody wants the thing that you have. The thing that you have, the thing that you're trying to start, the business idea that you have needs to serve a real life purpose and a real life person. It needs to actually solve a real life issue. It needs to be a concrete person who has a name, who has a specific job or a specific, kind of person with a specific kind of problem. And you need to, with your business, to provide the specific solution that will solve this specific person's problem. If you are not solving problems, then you are not running a business. A business is basically the exchange of solving a problem for someone by providing a solution in exchange for money. That is what a business is. That is what a business does. If you sell a shovel to someone, you solve the problem of digging a hole in the garden. If you sell Coca-Cola to someone, you solve the problem of someone being thirsty and wanting a nice drink. If you sell, I don't know, cars, you're solving the issue of someone being able to go from A to B. If you're providing a web page service for someone where they can go in and do their fitness training and log it and everything, you're serving the need of someone wanting to make progress in the gym. You need to figure out how to solve a concrete problem for someone, or else your business will fail. Many ideas can sound great on the paper, especially if that paper is only in your notebook closed off to the world. It's very easy to go down a rabbit hole and you might think this is the best idea ever, but if you have not asked anyone what they think, and you have not asked a customer specifically who have a need, if you're not asked them if they want to use the product that you're providing, if they think that product will be valuable to them and solve their problem, aka there is a need for your thing. If that is not present, your business will fail. All right, so that's CEN. The next one is T. T stands for time. Time is a really important factor if you want to actually have a business where you are not just creating a trap for yourself to get stuck inside. This has been a huge realization for me, and it's made me really backtrack in my progress of starting a business. Because when I realized that time, so the whole concept around time, is that you want to create a business where you detach money from time. You want those two things to be separate from each other. What does that mean? That means that your business will earn money for you while you are asleep. Your business will earn money for you while you are on vacation. Your business can earn money for you even though you are not present physically. So if I need to give an example of a business that does not fulfill the requirement of time, that would be my first business that I started, working as a physical therapist. So I took clients in, I served clients, and then they went on their merry way. I saw them maybe 5 to 10 times, and they paid me when they were there. Great. And you might think that's a great business to start. But the problem is with this that your income is one-to-one tied to your time. I only earn money when I have clients right in front of me. And I only have two hands, I only have one head. So I can only serve so many people at the same time, right? One person, or in group sessions maybe. And this will hinder and stagnate at some point your level of income. And it will require you to be present at all time for the business to actually run. If you're sick, the business closes. If you are on vacation, the business closes. Every time you are not present, basically, the business is closed, which means you are not earning money. That is a really difficult position to be in, and you can really push yourself up into a corner if you're, let's say, you're not maybe having enough clients coming through, and you don't have other ways detached from your time to make an income. That's your only actual product. Um, then you are kind of screwed, and you will not be able to make money. It also means that over time, as I said before, the only way to increase your revenue and money that you will earn through this business is by increasing your own intrinsic value, which means taking more courses, taking more education, raising your prices. And there is a cap to how much anyone can raise the prices of a specific service or product, which means that at some point your income will be capped, and that will happen very quickly. When your calendar, for example, as a physical therapist, is fully booked, you will not be able to earn more money. That is it. And then you can say, all right, then I'm just going to work more hours. But who starts a business to just work more hours? This is going to stress the heck out of anyone, and you are going to burn out at some point, especially if it's not something that you actually really like to work with. And even if you do, if your time is tied one-to-one to it, and you cannot detach your time from this thing, there's a big chance that you will just burn out from it over time, because you are so dependent on keeping on doing it, keeping on doing this thing, and just grinding away. So how do you detach yourself from time? Well, a business is, as I said, it's exchange of money for value. But what a business also is that it is a system. A business is a set of systems put into place as a, I need to find the word here. It's not called a cradle. I don't remember that word. It is the word that describes like an incubator. Never mind. Your business needs to be a system that takes care of solving the solution for your customer, right? So there are different kinds of systems, and they are rated on how good they are at divorcing your income from your time. So a very good example of a business that's very easy to where you can divorce time from money is creating a software-based business. A software-based business is I create the product once, and then the product will sell itself again and again and again. Your customers goes into the web page, they sign up for the subscription service, they buy the product, and then they use it. And you do not have to be present in order for that to happen. And that is a very good thing, because that means over time, when your system is refined enough, you can pull yourself away from it and work less while still making money. And to me, that sounds pretty damn good. When I realized this, I immediately backed off of the things that I was doing. A year ago, I was trying to start a diving business with spearfishing. And it's the same problem again. It was group-based, and I was trying to target a higher level customer, like businesses. But again, the same issue occurred, and I realized that I do not want to start a business in order for me to just work more and more and more. That's not why I would like to start a business personally. So I want to find out something where I can detach my time from money. All right. Another system could be, for example, a physical therapist clinic can actually be detached from time by implementing what's called a human resource system. So this is basically where the system itself consists of people doing the work for you, which means hiring people to do it. You could have 10, 20 physiotherapists in the clinic, and this would detach it from you while the business is still doing its thing. The business is now a system where you have a human resource system taking care of solving the issue in exchange for money, which will bring in revenue for you, even though you are not there. This is a much more high maintenance kind of system, and it's more difficult to scale and control. So there are considerations of what kind of system you try to create to detach the income from your time. Another example can be investments. That's also a very clear way to divorce time from your income. All right, we're going to go on to the next one, the last one. So we've gone through control, we've gone through entry, need, time. The last one is scale. And scale is divided into two categories. You have a scale of magnitude, and you have scale of numbers. I think actually magnitude is maybe not it in the scale category, but they're connected. But basically you have magnitude and scale. Magnitude is where your product is just so valuable in of itself that you do not actually need a lot of scale. So I guess that's actually the opposite of scale. Yeah. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have scale. So let's say, for example, something that has huge magnitude could be if you are developing a rocket ship. That is something you can sell for probably a lot of money, probably also pretty costly to invent. But on the other side, you have something like a pen. A pen does not cost a lot, but you can sell a lot of pens. And if you sell a lot of pens, say 2 million for, I don't know, $1, you will have earned a lot of dollars, right? Yeah. So scale is also something that you want to think of when you're starting your business. If it's a business that you want to actually be able to earn money for you, and a lot of money. If you're starting a business that is not able to scale well, it will be difficult for you to, over time, make your income increase more and more and more, and increase exponentially. And an example of a business that does not scale well is, again, physiotherapy, physical therapy. Being a massage therapist or being a physical therapist is not something that scales very well. You can only be there one-to-one or one-to maybe a group training. And that's the upper limit for that kind of scale if you're in one clinic. The next thing you could do would be to franchise. That's one way of scaling. And this is creating more clinics with more physical therapists inside, and they will then, you will have multiple clinics. This is also very high maintenance, and it's also very costly. Another way of scaling would again be an example of a software-based business, where basically the way to scale is just to press the button, and the code will just repeat itself again and again when the software is bought from the customer. You don't need to do anything. This will just happen over and over. This is something that will scale infinitely. So scale is something that you want to take into consideration with your product, that it's actually something that will be able to scale over time. There are different ways of scaling. One, as I mentioned, is a human resource system. Then you have content-based, which is, for example, YouTube. Millions of people can see this video. This is also an example of something that's detached from my time. I make this once and then it's on the internet and people can see it again and again, even when I'm asleep. And another example of a scalable business, as I said before, software-based, for example, or production of a product. All right, I made this. This was 20 minutes. This, I think, is the shortest video I've made so far, except for one where I was just talking random stuff. That's it for now. And I will do the thing that people do on YouTube and tell you that if you did enjoy this, subscribe, like, leave a comment. I would especially appreciate, like, if you see this and you actually get value from it, I would really appreciate if you leave a comment and tell me what you think. I'm new to this kind of stuff. I am greatly uncomfortable by this kind of stuff. It's very challenging for me, but I'm trying to challenge myself to do this anyways. And my goal is, since I started this, I think this is the 4th or 5th video that I made, I'm trying to do a video every day for a month to just break the barrier of doing shit on the internet. All right, so if you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and please leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate that. Have a good day, have a good evening. Thank you so much. Bye bye now.